Hey, you seem to enjoy the row your boat thing quite a bit. And it got me remembering and thinking about the song, about the frequency of row your boat gently down the stream. Meditate and then create the world that you're going to dream. You know the song row your boat? Nobody knows who wrote it. Matrix information. More proof that weirdness is happening. We're definitely in some kind of simulation, one breath at a time. We're constantly wanting to be stimulated in the simulation of life. It's all electronics, all little tiny dots of particles that we don't even have physical mass much to, but it seems like we do. How can we have both at the same time? Because apparently we're living in a world of duality. But in reality, it might be singularity that we're really living in, and our brains are creating duality because we're just that smart. One breath at a time. I'm paddling forward as I figure out where I want to be while I'm spouting off about row your boat. What a waste of time that's been for you, hasn't it? This is not a short, so you're just like hanging in there for what reason? I think the reason is I'd love to share for you the concept of how I became a wizard one breath at a time. The way I look is because of what I think about all the time. Sure, I was born with a certain look, and maybe that's all it is in reality, but if you start looking at things in a matrix and you're paying attention to how loud the volume is and you turn it down a little bit, you're creating your space to be more, or my space to be more like I want. And that's the whole purpose of living on this planet, is be loving and kind. My parents, both being Latvians, didn't speak English when I first popped out in Winnipeg, where everybody spoke English except for a few nationalities here and there, but everybody's trying to speak English. And I wasn't. I was speaking Latvian until grade 2. So my understanding was I was left behind on a lot of the rules and indoctrinations early on in my existence. So I had to figure it out myself. My parents were busy trying to figure out their world and speaking a different language, and excited to have a baby, they spoke in Latvian. And so all the English people and all the books that I was reading didn't start to happen until later in my life, compared to everybody else. So I found my own way, and because I was a freak of nature, being taller than the teachers in grade 4 when they failed me, I became taller than the teachers in grade 5, 6, and 7, and 8, 9, 10, and even in the world. In fact, my height of 6'7" happens to be the number of us that are 6'7" happens to be, and it was quoted in a Google somewhere, the exact or the approximate population of, I believe it was, it was either Riga, which is in Latvia, or Latvia. It was a very small number of people that are my size, and they chose Latvia, where I came from. And also, a little tidbit about Latvia, apparently, Riga was the first place a Christmas tree was put up and decorated as a Christmas tree. I thought St. Nick was from Turkey, but anyway, somehow there's some blurriness in history that Latvia, where my origins are from, because both my parents are Latvian. So I'm a purebred fuzznut that ends up looking like a Viking from that area, Viking land. So probably I was destined to look like this, but I do believe a lot of our looks are created by what we're thinking and feeling. I mean, it's a long process, your lifetime, and we keep changing the way we look. If we're grumpy and mad, I can tell a person that's spend a life of being pissed off. They're not enjoyable even today. And they're almost barely enjoyable until you hear their story and you see, wow, they've really improved, but they're still kind of not there yet. Here comes the wind. Take